Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Canisius College EduFair 2021 college presentation. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Jan, and I will be moderating the session. Without further ado, let's go straight to the presentation from the College of City University of Hong Kong that will be presented by Mr. Matt and Mr. Ryan. To Mr. Matt, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Jan, and glad to be here, and thank you for having us from the City University of Hong Kong. So again, my name is Matt, I'm from City U, and today we also have another student coming to join us as well. He's also a graduate from Canisius, and he will talk about his experience and journey from City U. So you guys have any questions, you can also direct to him. Also, his name is Ryan, by the way. So without further ado, some introduction and some background information about City University of Hong Kong. So City U is considered to be one of the very young university. We became university in 1994. So we are compared to be a very young university if you compare us with the other traditional and well-established universities. But if you compare us with them, we also have a pretty good ranking with the latest QS World Universities ranking at CTU at number 53rd in 2022. But of course, if you compare us with other universities that are young universities as well, under the QS rankings, they also have another ranking with top 50, under 50. So they list up top 50 universities under 50 years old, and CTU ranks number 4 in the world in that specific rankings. So it kind of shows you the potential and the dynamic of how CTU performed in recent years. And in CTU, we have 9 different colleges and schools offering different programs and majors. So we are actually very specialized in the fields of business, engineering, liberal arts and social sciences, and science. We also have a very niche programs called the College of Veterinary Medicine and Life Sciences. We have programs in creative media, data science, energy and environment, and School of Law as well. So Ryan is actually a student from the School of Data Science, so I'm sure that he will be able to talk a bit more about his academic life as a data science student at CTU. And at CTU, we focus a lot on the international opportunities for our students. So our students have had countless opportunities to participate in the student exchange programs. So taking advantage of our extensive network, so we have more than 400 student exchange partners around the world. So the usual suspects in US, UK, or in Australia, we have multiple well-known partners there. If you are very adventurous, or if you want to explore in some exotic countries, living and studying there for 1 semester or for 1 academic year, we also have partners in each of the continents, for example, in the Middle East or in South Africa or even in South America. So the world is actually yours to take. But of course, CTU also offered some financial assistance and as well as the exchange scholarships for our students. So if you're really interested in or very keen on getting the international exposures, at CTU, we do have a lot of different opportunities. But of course, apart from the student exchange programs, we also have a few of the very signature joint bachelor's degree program as well. So in collaboration with Columbia University, which is located in New York City in the States, so we are jointly offering the joint bachelor's degree program. So the first 2 years, if you come to CTU and study for one of the eligible majors is listed on a screen here, you will have an option whether to pursue your study at Columbia University for year 3 and year 4 for the later half of the program. So the entire program is 4 year long, and at the end of the program, if you finish that, so you will be awarded 2 bachelor's degrees from each of the institutions. So 1 bachelor's degree from CTU and 1 bachelor's degree from Columbia University. So you can imagine it's a really good bargain, whereas the standard normal university students also need to take 4 years to get 1 bachelor's degree program. But of course, because of our close relationship between us and Columbia University, we do offer the joint bachelor's degree together to the students. But of course, apart from Columbia University, we also have other joint bachelor's degree available for different disciplines of students. So for creative media students, they also have an option to go and study in the Fine University of Nuremberg. Or for business engineering or liberal arts social science students, they have the option to pursue the study in National Taiwan University in year 3 and year 4. But also for computing mathematics or for chemistry students, and they have an additional option in the UK. So they can actually go to the University of Edinburgh or the University of Manchester. So yes, CTU is well recognized between these kind of universities. So that's why we can offer the joint bachelor's degree program to our students. So don't worry about it. Just apply to CTU and you will be exposed to these kind of opportunities and programs. And also we have a very new initiative in plan. We call it Talents Program. We also have a nickname for it. It's called the HK Tech Tiger. So we have reserved exclusive opportunities for students under the Talents Program. So high achievers, especially those who are very good academically, will be invited to join the Talents Program. And by that program, the university will reserve these kind of opportunities for them, including the joint bachelor's degree as mentioned earlier, as well as some enrichment programs. And we also have the opportunity to undertake the double degrees or double majors in your study as well. Sometimes we also offer 4+1 programs, the undergraduate plus postgraduate programs. So you need to study 4 years of undergraduate degrees and you spend an additional year at CTU and we will award the postgraduate degrees as well, either the master's or PhD. So the opportunities are really as revolutionary, and we also reserved exclusively only for students under the Talents Program. And the university will also arrange 2 mentors for each student under the program. So one will advise him or her on his study and another one on the career prospects. So the opportunities are really countless. So do join us and you will be invited to join the Talents Program. So I'll just pass the time to Ryan. Ryan will be a graduate from Canisius in 2020, and he is currently a year 2 student in data science. So I'll just pass the time to him, and he will talk a bit more about his journey and experience at CTU.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Matt, for having me. Today, I'll be sharing my experience in CTU as a second year. Now, I'm just going to use Bahasa Indonesia to make this presentation more relatable. Jadi nama saya Ryan, dulu kemarin lulusan sesi 20, sekarang jurusannya di Systems Engineering in the School of Data Science, cohort 2024. Jadi sekarang baru masuk year 2. Ini adalah beberapa foto tadi dari Canisius. Nah, jadi pertama, why Hong Kong? Pertama, kenapa saya pilih CTU? Karena it's a really good university. Rankingnya udah dijelasin sama Matt. Rankingnya selalu naik dari over the years. And Hong Kong tuh deket banget sama Indonesia compared to US, UK, Canada. Kalau mau balik, tiket pesawatnya jauh lebih murah. Terus time difference juga beda 1 jam doang. Jadi kalau mau call keluarga, call temen, jauh lebih mudah. Terus di sini amazing career opportunity karena mungkin ya negara maju, banyak banget opportunitas karir setelah lulus kuliah tuh banyak banget. Terus ini juga lumayan penting banget nih, scholarship. CTU is really generous in giving scholarship to international students. Jadi sangat bagus banget untuk kita. Nah, yang terakhir juga bagus, ini diverse international students. Nanti aku akan kasih lihat beberapa foto-foto di mana mainnya juga banyak banget anak internasional. Next, please. Okay, now I'm gonna talk about student life, academically and career-wise. Jadi in university, udah pasti top lah. Ini kan top university, every resource available, semuanya udah pasti ada. Terus mau ngomong dikit tentang student residence-nya, the place I'm living right now in a dorm. Jadi di sini ada 11 dorm. I'm living in hall 4 right now. The dorm is quite nice. There's a lot of people here. You'll meet a lot of people from different countries. Di sini juga there's a small gym, a small computer room, a small piano room. It's really convenient. Terus the view is also really nice. And it's really close to the campus. Terus internship-wise, kemarin aku juga pas summer ada opportunity dapat summer internship. It's really great for us. Jadi kita juga dapat pengalaman kerja. Currently sekarang aku juga masih working part time, lanjut di company kemarin. Aku kerja di startup yang located in Hong Kong Science Park. Jadi ini foto di samping ini daerah Hong Kong Science Park ini yang lumayan sangat menarik menurut saya. Next please. Nah ini juga the exciting part non-academic life. Jadi pertama mau bahas dulu PP Hong Kong, yaitu Indonesian Students Organization in Hong Kong. Jadi ada beberapa foto acara PP Hong Kong tahun ini. Ada hiking, basketball, ini juga acara 17-an. Saya sendiri juga panitia di Committee of Sports and Youth. Next please. Terus ada lagi student life non-academic ini. I really love hiking. Jadi kalau di Hong Kong tuh enaknya mau hiking bagus banget. There's a lot of hiking trails. The view is amazing. Jadi it's great that kamu bisa on the morning bisa in the middle of the concrete jungle, terus bisa naik train, naik bus, terus tiba-tiba udah kayak gini, view-nya bagus banget. Ini juga aku hiking sama anak-anak inter dari Kazakhstan sama dari Hong Kong, anak lokal. Bagus banget. Next please. Another life of mine that I like itu basketball. Jadi I really like playing basketball. Ini di foto di kiri bawah adalah ini school core, aku main sama anak-anak internasional juga, ada Kyrgyzstan, anak dari Uganda, Bangladesh. Jadi the international environment is really great. You get to meet a lot of people. Also the beaches here are amazing. Banyak banget pantai yang bagus banget. Yang mungkin wavesnya nggak segede Bali, tapi bersih, semuanya di sini bersih banget. Jadi yang di kanan bawah adalah Shek O Beach. I went there 2 weeks ago. It's really nice. You get the sunset and all. Terus what I like about Hong Kong is also the parks. Banyak banget parks yang ya sangat bersih, sangat luas gitu. Jadi in the middle of all these towers, you get these parks. Jadi yang di kanan atas ini adalah namanya Tamar Park, one of the biggest parks in Hong Kong. Next please. Jadi nggak lama-lama aja langsung conclusion. Menurut aku, you gotta study hard for the scholarship admission. It's really worth it. Tapi jangan lupa have fun, enjoy the process. Ini foto di kanan adalah a view from my dorm window. Jadi sangat bagus view-nya. You can add me into my IG atau WA kalau mau nanya-nanya juga boleh. I think that's all for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. I can't imagine that it's such a nice view from your dormitory.
Yeah,
You can
amazing.
imagine waking up every morning looking at this view. It's amazing. All right, so later part, I'll just briefly talk a bit about the fees we have, the scholarships we offer, as well as the application procedures, especially for those who are interested in applying to CityU. So in CityU, we have two main pathways for admissions. So for those who are coming from Indonesia SMR curriculum, they will be applying through the first year entrance. So applying and admitted to CityU, you have to go through a 4-year curriculum. However, for students coming from a 13-year schooling, or if you're taking additional examination, for example, for IB diploma, as well as the GCE A-level examinations, you will have an additional option to apply through advanced standing 1 entrance. So by then, you only have to go through a 3-year curriculum at CityU. So you only have to spend 3 years there. But of course, the program choices between the first year entrance and the advanced standing 1 entrance might be different, because most of the programs are designed to have a comprehensive program in their curriculum. So that's why the majority of the programs are available for first year entrance only, while a selected programs would be available for advanced standing 1 entrance. So do bear in mind and take that into consideration when you apply to CityU, like which pathways you want to apply through. And applying to CityU, you have two main requirements. So this is the first requirement, the general entrance requirements. So again, this is the minimum requirements you have to fulfill in order to be considered for admission. So having that examination results doesn't guarantee you to have the admission offers from us. But again, if you graduate from your high school and you get the SMR ijazah, then you will be able to fulfill that requirement. But of course, by the time you apply to CityU, you might not have the SMR ijazah ready. So don't worry, because you can still submit your application with your school transcripts. and your academic results from the previous semesters. So we can actually review that kind of information and your application in order to give you the conditional offers. And the second requirement would be the English language requirements. As we mentioned, the SCDU, the medium of instruction would be in English. So that's why we do have this kind of English language requirements to ensure everybody have that kind of proficiency in English to understand what the professors are saying and if you can actually handle the assignment in English as well. So again, this screens here shows an abstract of all the qualifications or the examination we acknowledged and we accept. So you only need to fulfill any one of the listed will do. So either you can take IELTS or TOEFL. If you're taking GCE A-level examination as well, then you can actually take the A-level English language, English literature, or English language and literature as the subjects to fulfill the English language requirement. All right, so this will be the application timeline available for our 2022 intake. So our application will start in this month, in the 23rd of September. And while we have two rounds of application, we have the early deadline and the regular deadline. So the reason why we have two rounds of application is that we encourage students who are interested in to apply to CityU to apply as early as possible. Because if you apply to us by the early deadline, which is set in the 15th of November 2021, then we will let you know whether you have the conditional offer from us by the end of this year or in early January. So you have a lot more time to consider and will be a very early decision to make. But of course, if you still want to take time to consider all the options and to see which universities to apply to, then you can also still take time and apply to CityU by the regular deadline. So the regular deadline for 2022 intake will be on the 13th of January 2022. And our academic year starts usually in late August or early September every year. But of course, for those who are in grade 10 or grade 11, the application timeline will be quite similar. So do be prepared to start applying to universities 1 year ahead before you graduate from your high school. So if you're grade 11 students about to graduate in 2023, then in 2022 in September, then you really need to start preparing or thinking which universities to apply to. This slide here shows you the estimated cost of study when you come to CityU. So the tuition fee for international students is currently fixed at 140,000 Hong Kong dollars, equivalent to around 260 million rupiah every year. And the cost of living roughly around 66 million rupees, but of course subject to your lifestyle. If you splurge more, then prepare more for a bit of the cost living. But of course, given that I live in Hong Kong for almost all my life, I think that the cost of living for a year with 36,000 Hong Kong dollars would be more than enough, to be honest. And as a non-local student coming to CityU, we guarantee you to have the bed space in the student residence for the first 2 years of study. So year 1 and year 2 coming to CityU with the on-campus accommodation cost ranging from around 30 million rupees every year. But of course, in your year 3 and year 4, you can still apply to the student residence, but it's just that the university cannot guarantee you to have a space anymore. So at this point, we do encourage the students to prepare for off-campus accommodation costs, just in case you couldn't get the student residence in year 3 and year 4. So if you share room with one other individual, the off-campus accommodation cost will be ranging from 45 to 55,000 Hong Kong dollars, around 83 to 102 million rupees every year. from the university. And because of our close relationship between CityU and Canisius College, we also reserve exclusive opportunities for students like you coming from Canisius. So we have 3 quotas every year for the entrance scholarships. So if you're interested in getting the entrance scholarships from us, you can be nominated by your counselors and your principals. So we have 1 quota for top scholarships, 1 for full tuition, and 1 for half tuition scholarships as well. So if you want to make use of these kind of scholarship quotas, do check it out with your counselors and your principals to get the nomination. So we will get that and reserve the exclusive scholarship opportunities for you. But of course, for those who don't really have the nomination, just apply to CityU because we do consider everybody for scholarship opportunities, especially the academic scholarships. So you don't really have to apply separately for the academic scholarships here. You just only need to apply to CityU for admissions and we will consider you automatically. And the most generous part of the scholarship schemes that we offer is that the entrance scholarships can be renewed throughout your study for CityU, given that you fulfill the satisfactory requirements of your CGPA. So for example, nowadays we set the CGPA requirements at 3.4 or above, equivalent to around B or B plus in every subject. So as long as you fulfill the CGPA requirements, for example, if you're awarded top scholarships upon entrance, you have or you will have the top scholarships renewed year after year, suppose or on the assumption that you fulfill the CGPA requirements. So you can imagine coming to City Youth and study for 4 years with the top scholarships for 4 years as well. It's a very generous offer from City Youth. And apart from the scholarships, the academic scholarships offered by the university, you've come to study in Hong Kong. The Hong Kong government also offered the government scholarship fund with the Belt and Road scholarships as well. So these scholarships will be designated for students coming from Belt and Road countries, including Indonesia. So if you apply to CityU and you will be nominated for the academic or with the HKSAR government-backed scheme as well. But for those who might not be really good academically, but you're really good in sports, we do also have another scholarship scheme for the outstanding athletes as well. So if you're one of the participants in one of the 18 sports that listed on the screen here, and you participated in competitions either regionally or nationally or even internationally, of course, then of course we do encourage students like you to apply to our outstanding athletes entrance scholarships. So the scholarships under the sports scholarships will also cover the tuition fee and partial living allowances as well. But do bear in mind the sports scholarships here do require a separate application. But of course, upon all these entrance scholarships and awards, we also have different scholarships and awards schemes available as well. Because as I mentioned, if you participate in your outbound exchange programs, or if you undertake the internship experience, you also have different scholarships and awards for you as well. All right, so to wrap up with our presentation, I'll just leave our contact information or our website information as well, because all the materials we just mentioned will be available on our website. You can actually scan the QR code or visit the link on www.cityu.edu.hk/international. Of course, you can email me after the presentation with any additional Q&A. My email would be overseas@cityu.edu.hk, or you can follow us on the social media, either on Facebook or IG. But of course, we also have a consultant in Indonesia. Her name is Ruth, and this will be her contact number, and WhatsApp is also available if you're interested in getting in touch with us in Bahasa Indonesia. And her email would be indonesia.cityu@gmail.com. All right, so it's the end of the presentation, and I'm opening the floor up for your Qs, and I'll try to answer your questions. Hopefully, they will address that. So I already see a few of the questions coming in from the chat. But of course, you can also ask any questions if you're interested in that as well. But for those who might be wondering whether they require the knowledge in Mandarin or in Cantonese if you come to Hong Kong and study, don't worry, because as I mentioned, the medium of instruction at CTU would be in English. So I don't think that studying would be any of the obstacles here. But of course, if you're concerned about living there and surviving in Hong Kong without any prior knowledge in Cantonese and Mandarin, I can say that with confidence that you can actually do so because Hong Kong is a very international city. So we have students or we have residents coming from every part of the world. So if you just go off on the street and you take the public transport, you can actually hear the announcement in all three of the languages. You can hear announcement in first in Cantonese and then in English and wrapped up in Mandarin. So if you just wander around and you take public transportations and to get to different corners in Hong Kong, I'm sure that you can survive well without any knowledge in Mandarin or Cantonese. But of course, if you were to come to Hong Kong and to stay here for 3 or 4 years, we do encourage you guys to actually get some knowledge and some understanding of the local languages so that you can actually immerse yourself to that culture. It will make friends easier with the Hong Kong locals as well. That's just my personal advice if you're interested in that. And some of you guys are also interested in getting to know whether you have the Indonesian community in Hong Kong. And as far as I know, we do have a very large Indonesian community in Hong Kong. Because I understand that Ryan is actually one of the committee members of the students associations in Hong Kong, consisting university students from different universities. It's called a PPIHK, but each university, they also have their own chapter as well and their own association. For example, in CTU, we also have an association called the Permisi. So they are consisting or recruiting students coming from Indonesia to join this association. So occasionally they will organize different kinds of activities. I understand that sometimes they organize a boat trip, especially for all the international students. But for Permisi, they also get together with the celebration. I always see them wearing what do they call the national clothes in Indonesia? The bakti. Oh, I forgot the bakti, right? The shirt with a very nice and pretty print on the shirt here. And some of the students are actually asking the specific scholarship scheme. But of course, we do just show you on the screen here with the different entrance scholarship schemes available. For top scholarships, we will be able to cover your annual tuition fee as well as the on-campus accommodation costs and the living allowances. But of course, full tuition and half tuition will cover the annual tuition fee and half of the annual tuition fee, respectively. Right. So,
Sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
It looks like we're nearing the end of our session. Sorry. Thank you,
Oh,
Mr. Matt, for
of course.
answering most of the questions. Mr. Matt, do you perhaps want to give a closing statement before the session ends?
Of course, coming to Hong Kong would be one of the very good and one of the best options, I think, as explained by Ryan here. Because at CTU especially, we have the internationalized community as well as all these kind of exciting opportunities available for our students. So do consider applying to CityU or to Hong Kong, and I hope to see you in CityU soon. Thank you very much, Jen.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Matt. I'm now going to close this session, but before that, I want to remind everyone here that if you want to learn more about City University of Hong Kong, then you can check out the virtual booth in the EduFair application or the EduFair website. There, you can find links that will give you more detailed information. This event is sponsored by